Could you imagine you're dating this guy, you think he's so wonderful, he's so sweet to you, and then you see him make out with somebody in your face? Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to be filming a storytime video about my absolute worst dating experience ever. Nothing against this guy, but it was definitely an awful experience for me. So I've been seeing these videos going around on YouTube about people's awful Tinder dates and stuff like that, so I don't have any Tinder dates to tell, but I do have this story. So a little bit of background, I've known this guy for a really long time. We actually went to high school together and we always kind of had like little crushes on each other, but we never hung out during high school. We would text off and on, but that was about it. So fast forward a little bit to when we're both graduated. We're both single, so he starts texting me and asking to hang out and stuff, and we kept making plans to hang out, and they wouldn't really follow through for a little while, so eventually I was just kind of like, yeah, whatever, we'll hang out sometime, and eventually we did end up hanging out. So we hung out the first time, and it actually went really well. He just came over to my house, and we watched movies, and that was good. After our first time hanging out, he would text me and just, always say really sweet things. He said he had a really good time with me, liked being around me, and that he'd like to see where things could go between us. So I was like, okay, yeah, I was pretty interested in him as well. So we would hang out about 3 times a week, but never really on the weekends, because he would always go visit his friends that live about an hour and a half away from here. And that was fine. We texted every single day, and he would always say really sweet things to me. Like every morning he used to wake up pretty early for work, and he would text me good morning, and he would always be calling me beautiful, letting me know that he's thinking of me, and that he couldn't wait until the next time we'd be hanging out. And that was like really fun, and like I said, we hung out at least 3 times a week. And we would just basically watch movies or go to the movies or go for a drive, just go out to eat, little things like that. Weekend he was going away, and I actually have a friend that lives there, so I decided to ask him if he would mind giving me a ride up there, and maybe we would hang out, and maybe we'd, meet up later that night or something. So he was going for a weekend, and he drove me, he was going away for the weekend, and I was going up too, so he gave me a drive there to my friend's house, and that was fine. So I got to my friend's house, and I was just kind of talking about him to her and letting her know like that I really liked him and that he was so sweet, and that I was super excited for them to meet, because he did say that he would text me and let me know if he was going out that night, because me and my friend already had plans to, and there's only like one major bar in that city that everyone really goes to anyways. So we were texting while I was at my friend's house, and he was saying like, oh, I'm pretty sure me and my friends are going out tonight, I can't wait to see you, like blah blah blah. And I was telling him, like, I can't wait to see you either, and I can't wait to introduce you to my friend. And we were just Snapchatting and texting. So later on that night, my friend and I started drinking before we went out, and we are of age, so it's all good. So we were drinking, and I was texting him again, like I said, and I was like, let me know when you're going out and we can meet up and everything will be fun. And I was so excited, like I mean so excited, because I really had faith in this guy. Like I said, we texted every single day. He was always saying really sweet things to me, complimenting me, letting me know how much he enjoys himself around me, and just like super cute things that every girl loves to hear, right? So finally it's time to go out, and me and my friend called a cab, and we actually went out a little late because the bars are open until 2 here, and most of the time people don't go until 12:30. So we left her house at 12:30 and didn't make it to the bar till probably 12:45. So I get there, and like her and I are just dancing, and I'm kind of like keeping an eye out for him, and I never seen him. So my friend and I were actually walking to the bar to get a drink, and she was a little bit ahead of me. So I'm walking, and I kind of just glanced over to my left, and I just remember I see the back of this girl and this guy like making out. So I can see the back of her, and they start making out, and the guy looks up and looks me right in the eye, and it just so happened to be the guy that I've been talking to for the past month. Like, nice, buddy. So I see them making out. He looks up, looks at me right in the eye, and then continues to make out with her. So I just kind of walked away. I caught up with my friend, and I told her, I just seen him making out with another girl, like I'm super upset. And she was like, are you sure it's him? And I was just like, yeah. Like I was really, really devastated to see that, especially where he didn't even acknowledge me after he looked me right in the eye. So she was like, well, you should go say something to him. And I didn't really want to, because he was with that girl, and I didn't want to like be all dramatic or anything, but I was like, okay, well maybe I should go talk to him. So I go back to towards the dance floor where they were, and he's still there just dancing with her, having the time of his life, so it looked like. And I just kind of like went up and tapped him on the shoulder, and I was like, hey, like what are you doing? And he literally just didn't even look at me. Like I was standing like, this is them, I'm standing right here, and he literally did not acknowledge me at all, and neither did she. So I tapped him again, and I'm like, yo, like, what are you doing? And finally, he stopped dancing for a second, and he was like, I seen you making out with another guy and dancing with another guy. Like, this is just my best friend. Like, she's nothing to worry about. She's my best friend. And I was like, you did not see me making out with anybody, because, first of all, I haven't even talked to a single guy here, let alone make out or dance with somebody. I was like, so you're lying to me? And he's like, no, you're lying to me. Like, you're lying to my face right now. And he was telling me, he's like, you're gonna regret this. In the meantime, this girl is still just dancing on him. Like, she really doesn't even care. And I'm like, whoa, like, what the heck? Like, I promise you, like, that wasn't me. If you've seen somebody, like, either you're making this up, or whoever you've seen was not me. Like, and honestly, there wasn't, I mean, I highly doubt there was another 4'10" girl with long brown hair wearing the same shirt that I was wearing that looked just like me dancing with some other guy that he assumed was me. So I definitely considered that bullcrap. So anyways, I just kind of walked away because he didn't really seem to care. And then I went back up to him again, and I was like, you know, can we just talk, like, by ourselves? And he was like, no, like, I know what I've seen, like, I don't want to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, please, like, let's just go over and talk, or, like, come dance with me or something. And he would not. And I was like, well, what the heck? And he's like, well, I have to stay with my friend. Like, what kind of, you guys are just making out. Like, what kind of friend is that? And I was just like, whatever. I was pretty upset. So me and my friend just decided to leave early. And when I got in the cab to go back to her place, I texted him, and I was just kind of like, wow, like, I really thought you were different. Like, thank you for showing your true colors. I definitely don't want anything to do with you anymore, and whatever else. And I went back to her apartment, and he texted me probably like 3 o'clock in the morning, but I was already sleeping, and he was like, I'm so sorry that you've seen that. I'm not like that. That wasn't me. You know, that's not my typical self. He was like, I thought I seen you dance with someone else. I apologize. I wouldn't bring you here just to do that to you. Like, that was so awful of me. I'm so sorry. So he kept apologizing, and finally I was just kind of like, well, I really like you, and, like, I thought you really liked me, and, you know, that was definitely a slap in the face, especially since I was so excited for my friend to meet you and stuff. And he was like, oh, she probably hates me now and stuff. And I was like, well, you know, she's definitely not impressed and whatever. So he apologized, and you know, we were there for the weekend, so it was Saturday the next day, and I was like, well, we're gonna go out again tonight, so maybe we'll meet up again and this time will be better. And he was like, yeah, like, I'll let you know if me and my friends decide to go out. So I'm like, great, whatever, that's cool. So later on, like, the day goes on, and it's nighttime, and we're getting ready again to go out, and I'm texting him, and he's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure me and my friends are gonna be out tonight. I will text you. I was like, okay. So I just kind of stopped responding. I was like, whatever, I'm, you know, since last night was such an awful experience, I'm just gonna do my own thing, and hopefully we run into each other. So I go to the bar, and, you know, I'm having a good time just dancing with my friend, and then I run into him. So I'm like, hey, I walk up to him, give him a big hug, and he's with, like, I don't know, probably like 4 or 5 other guys, and he gives me a hug, and he was really kind of standoffish, and I was like, do you want to go dance? And he was like, no, actually, we're getting ready to leave, so, you know, I'll just text you. And I was like, okay. And, you know, I thought it was a little bit weird. He didn't even introduce me to any of his friends, so for all I know, I probably looked like that weird girl at the bar just running up to him. And that was that. So I just went back to dancing, assuming that he was leaving. I could tell he wasn't really drinking anyway, so maybe they just stopped there for a minute, I don't know. So I go back, and I'm dancing with my friend, we're having fun, just having a girls' night, and then it's time to leave. So I'm going out the doors to go catch a cab, and there he is. Like, oh, I thought you were leaving, guess not. So I went back up to him, and I was like, hey, like, I thought you were leaving. And, like, as I approached him, his friends that he was with were kind of, like, giving him a look and, like, smiling and laughing, like, almost as if they were laughing at me. Like, that's how I felt. So I was just like, oh, I thought you were leaving. And he's like, oh, yeah, like, we're going to, well, of course you're leaving now, it's the end of the bar. But anyways, I was like, okay, like, well, do you want to come back to my friend's house? Like, you can bring some of your friends with you, because she had her own apartment. And he was just like, no, like, I gotta go back with my friends. And I'm like, all right, well, that's fine. He's like, I'll text you. And I was like, okay. So I left. And then he texted me, and he's like, hey, like, my friends weren't laughing at you, just to clear that up and stuff. And I was like, okay, even though, I mean, it still really felt like they were. So I went back to her house, and then, you know, I was still kind of hurt from the night before. Like, I've never experienced something like that before. Like, that was really awful. Like, and then they accuse you of doing the exact same thing that they were doing when you really didn't do it at all. yeah, it was kind of crappy. So I was a little bit guarded with him after that, but the next day, Sunday, he did drive me back. Like, I got a ride with him back to our place, like our hometown or whatever. And, you know, we still kind of hung out for a bit after that, but then he got really, like, I don't even know how, like, we didn't text as much, you know, he wasn't as sweet as he was before, and I just kind of knew something was up, so I just distanced myself from him as he was distancing himself from me. So, another thing that I was always kind of, like, noticing was there was this girl that lived where his friends lived that, you know, I would see commenting, like, on his Instagram, or I would see her tweeting him and stuff, but he would always be like, oh no, she's just my friend, nothing to worry about. So I didn't worry. And then after we didn't talk for a while, we probably didn't hang out for like a good 3 weeks, and he snap texted me and just said, you know, like, I really miss hanging out with you, I'd love to get together again sometime, like, I miss how close we used to be and all that stuff. And he was saying like really sweet things like, I miss your beautiful face, and, you know, I'd really like to hang out again sometime. And like, yeah, I was letting him know that I missed him too, and that we could definitely get together and hang out again, so that was fine. And then the next day I went to go send him a Snapchat or something, and I realized it said pending, and if it says pending, that normally means that somebody deleted you off Snapchat. So I was like, what the heck? So I texted him and I was like, hey, did you delete me off Snapchat? And then like right after I texted him, I actually went on to his Twitter, and I realized that he was dating that girl that was always commenting on his Instagram and tweeting him. Like, they were boyfriend and girlfriend, because I clicked on her Twitter and it was like, love my boyfriend, blah, 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 and they had like pictures together. So I texted him and I was like, oh, okay, never mind. I see why you deleted me off Snapchat. You have a girlfriend. And then he was like, yeah. And I was like, well, then why would you message me last night and say those things to me? And he was like, I don't know. And I was like, well, you really shouldn't have. And then he was like, yeah, I know. And that was the last time I talked to him. So, and as far as I know, I think that he continued to date that girl for a while. I know they're broken up now because he has another new girlfriend, and yeah, I don't think he treated her very well either, but I never like talked to her or anything. I don't really know where she lives, quite far from here. But yeah, so that was my absolute worst dating experience ever. I would absolutely never give that guy another chance. I definitely shouldn't have even continued to keep hanging out with him after the fact that he made out with another girl right in my face. But I did, because unfortunately I'm a very forgiving person. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed that story, and if you guys can relate at all or have been through a similar situation, definitely let me know. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos, and if you like my storytime videos, definitely give this video a thumbs up and I'll be sure to do more.